Have you ever struggled to explain a complex idea in English, only to be met with blank stares from your audience? You're not alone. Watch this video to the end. I'm going to give you some really good ways to fix this problem. Also at the end, I've got some valuable bonuses for you. I've got a free course and I've got a quiz that's going to tell you where you need to work on your English. And I'll give you a personal roadmap to solve your English problems in business. This will really help your career. They're very good English speakers, but maybe sometimes they speak too fast or something gets lost and they just fall apart. Let's work on this today. My name is Teacher Bert. I've been teaching English, coaching English to IT and business professionals for the last 5 years. And before that, I was in business for over 30 years. So today we're going to fix this problem, or at least we're going to do a lot of work on it. This video is going to provide actionable techniques to help you simplify and convey complex concepts in English effectively. So what's the problem? Why is it so difficult to express complex ideas, and why is it so challenging? Could it have to do with our mindset? Are you so nervous and anxious that you're falling apart? Maybe you've tried to memorize something and it's just not coming together. You tried to memorize words, complex words. Maybe you're reacting too quickly to something that's said in a meeting and you're trying to express something that's complicated, but you haven't taken a moment to sort of put your ideas together, right? Get organized. We call this coherence. It's really important. And you'll notice natives do the same thing. You're not alone. This is a problem that many people have. How many times have you heard somebody that's a native English speaker in a meeting trying to explain something to the team, but they're just not explaining it properly? They're not organized. They haven't got their ideas together. This is not English. This is communication. That's what I do. I'm a communication coach. And this is the problem. This is the problem I see all the time. And it's just take a moment, wait a few seconds, put your ideas together. And don't be thinking about your English so much. I want you to get to the point where you're thinking you have a methodology for doing it, and you're putting your ideas together, and it's coming out in English, okay? And we can work on these things. Get this auto memory down so that your English comes out in sentences instead of word by word. And in IT and business, you do have some complex things to talk about, and you do need some technical jargon. Abstract concepts are sometimes hard to understand, and language barriers can kind of get in the way sometimes. Little grammar rules like putting the adjective before the noun are important in English. Explaining something like the office of your company, we don't say that in English, do we? We say your company's office is located here. You don't say our president has 52 years. We say, our president is 52 years old. His birthday is next week. Little things like this do make a difference. Now, it's not the end of the world if you make these little mistakes. And I would say just keep on speaking during a meeting when you do this. And just try to correct it in the future. But these are small mistakes. It's all about your communication. That's what counts. Now, what are the implications if you can't explain complex ideas in English, or you think you can't communicate them? Well, it's probably going to affect your career and the possibility for promotions. I have met executives who are very smart, who speak perfect English, almost native level, but they're being told by their global leaders that they don't seem confident in their English. They don't seem to have good English in meetings. Why are you not speaking? I've heard that a number of times from CEOs in LATAM, or CTOs, or CPOs, COOs. all those C-suite people and lots of IT and business professionals say the same thing. And people think their English is poor, but their English is good. They just need to take time, think about what they're going to say, and use acronyms. I like SPIN. Discuss the situation. Consider the real problem. Consider the implications of not taking action. And then discuss what needs to be done with the team. This gives you a way to formulate your responses. It works really well. SPIN. S-P-I-N. Situation, problem, implications, needs. So don't you miss opportunities. Get ahead in your career and think of it from a whole life standpoint. Why are you learning English? Why are you perfecting your English? Why do you want to get ahead in business? Do you want to get ahead in business? What are your goals? Put this all together and be able to explain to people what you're about. What are your values? Can you explain your values in English? How do you balance your work life? Things like this. Can you explain this in English? How do you say no when you're being given so much work that you can't perform properly? How do you explain this to your bosses? These are complicated ideas, but you can do it. Think about stuff like this. Think about the major things. How do you balance your life? How do you process things? How do you formulate your goals in that? Do you know what you want? Do you have a personal mission statement? Can you explain this stuff? Think about it. These are important things, aren't they? And you can use your English to do it. So when you're trying to explain a complex concept or something, break it down into digestible pieces. It's like that saying, how do you eat an elephant? You eat an elephant one bite at a time. Hopefully you don't eat elephants. I think they're wonderful animals. So we need to think like this. We need to think in methodologies, don't we? How do we do it? How do we break it down? And during the time when we're speaking with people, get agreement, get corroboration, be a team player, but be a leader too. Learn how to influence people. Use an example. Something that you've done before and how well it worked and why it worked and how this, say, software architecture can be applied to the new project. Always be thinking about history. History repeats itself, doesn't it? So how did we do this in the past? How did we accomplish a major goal when you're explaining something complicated? And always don't try to impress them with your English, okay? Don't be thinking like this. In business, it's all about fluency. Keep it simple. Use everyday language. Consider using analogies and metaphors. Think about the processes going down the highway and achieving certain things and taking off ramps, and that when you're describing benchmarks or blockades, roadblocks that might come along. Use a metaphor so people can picture it in their minds. Get something we can relate with. And if you can use images, it's all that much better, isn't it? A lot of people just really can't understand things when we describe them verbally. And we need to use images. Have a whiteboard. Get something up there that people can see. Have some slides. Find analogies that your audience can easily relate to depending on their background. Know your audience. Think about who you're speaking with. And don't forget to tell stories. Memorable experiences you had and discoveries that the team made by doing certain things. How you've solved a major problem that seemed insurmountable. How you broke it down. Storytelling is so important. We remember stories. I bet you can tell me stories that your teammates told you, and you wouldn't necessarily remember very much of anything else they told you. Storytelling is essential. It's a great skill to develop. So storytelling is a technique to contextualize, to put a complicated idea in context, right? Making them more engageable and memorable. People will respect you for this. Storytellers are really valuable. But one thing I'd like to say, don't make it too long. Try to always get your ideas out in this as concisely as you can, okay? That's important too, because people kind of lose interest. So we have to be engaging in our storytelling and keep it brief, to the point. And if you can add some emotion or something for them to remember, how did you feel when this was happening in the story? Was the team panicking? Were you lost? Were you feeling overwhelmed? Remember these things when you tell a story. People react to emotional ideas and pictures. And don't forget to put some visuals in your story. Illustrate the concept. And most important, practice active listening and clarification. Ask people if they're understanding you. Ask questions. Really listen to their responses. Be engaged. Be willing to modify what you're talking about. Don't get hung up in one thing. This is so important, isn't it? Truly listen. Don't be the person who is sort of listening, but really thinking about what you're going to say next. Ask some follow-up questions. Really focus on them. Be in the now and be real. Be authentic. Be a real person. I hope you like this, and I really want to help you move your career ahead, bring about a better future for your family, whatever goals you're interested in that will align with your values and the path that you want to take in the future, which is going to change over time. I've got a huge amount of life experience in teaching and business that I'd like to share with you. Consider me as your mentor, possibly, taking you through English communication and the different business experiences I've had that will help you through your experiences, the challenges you're going to experience in the future. And don't forget, when you do explain something, use a pause, and pause after you listen to people too. That's so important. And when you finish speaking, summarize what you said in as few words as you can, 5-6 words if possible, something that they're really going to remember. This is such important communication. And what are the pitfalls? How about overcomplicated language? Going around in circles, just speaking and speaking and speaking more. Keep it brief, keep it simple. KISS, keep it simple, stupid. Not saying that you're stupid, but just keep it simple. Remember that. Don't assume too much. Assume. ASSUME. It makes an ass of you and me. Isn't that terrible? But when we assume that people do understand the subject fully, or that they understand a certain process, and we're not asking if they need clarification, we can make a big mistake. And don't forget about acronyms, CSR, CRM, all these sorts of things, all your abbreviations. Make sure everybody in the room knows what you're talking about. And always focus on your audience. What's their knowledge level? And adjust your explanations accordingly. Recap and call to action. What are you trying to achieve? So like I said, summarize, put in as few words as you can, and what's the next step, all right? What do you want them to do? So we've learned a lot in this video. I hope you've appreciated it. I have a 10-question quiz that you can do that's really going to let you focus on what you need to do to drastically improve your business English, to make you a superb communicator who is able to advance, to get promoted, to find new opportunities. So thank you so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed this. I'm going to put out some more valuable videos like this, so why don't you subscribe and you'll get messaged when I put something new out. Thank you so much.